Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the agents of Shatterpoint.
And in this video, we're asking, why are AMG's build instructions so bad?
I wonder sometimes if it's a little like when you try to use a search function on a website and it's not Google, and Google are so good, and we're used to maybe Games Workshop's instructions can be they're like the IKEA of building instructions sometimes.
Well, they always have a bit missing.
Yeah, god damn it. But it's like, we're used to a higher level, and AMG
Yeah, well, I used to hate
something
GWs,
different.
to be fair. But they have got a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think there is a little bit of it. I mean, the question's a little bit unfair. It's a little. I've deliberately framed it in a clickbaity internet way, so apologies for that.
Oh, look at all those people leaving. Loads of people leaving now.
But I do think they're quite bad.
Yeah. Oh, they're coming back again.
And firstly, I think GW's, just the actual raw content, the GW's images are better.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing. The images aren't very good on the, because I think GW do, I mean, I guess they are the renders.
They must be the renders rather than the actual models, but they just seem to be.
But they're better quality render.
Yeah, exactly.
The AMG ones are just renders of the model. And we're going to get to the crux of it in a minute. It may just be because you have to look at them on the screen.
Yeah.
And the render just looks worse. They don't use very many colours either, which GW do use different colours.
Yeah.
Thing. And this actual video, go back to the screen point. This is why I started to think about this. AMG recently did a
Q&A thing, wasn't it?
A Q&A, yeah. They're going to do every month or so. Questions they've been asked. And it's quite entertaining actually to read. I think of all the things I've seen in recent weeks or months that demonstrates why gamers are rather entitled, it's this FAQ, because they had to answer some ridiculous questions.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you tell us your entire corporate strategy for the next 3 years so we know what we're going to be able to buy?
Why is it you tell us something's going to be available in August, but it's not available until September?
Until August the 15th.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, which I really felt for AMG. But there was a question, and I know a lot of people talk about it, as to why they put their instructions online.
Yes, none of their instructions for their assemblies are in the box. Unlike GW, where it's all on little pamphlets and lots of things reminding you need glue and stuff like theirs, it's all digital.
It's all digital, and it's not just because, and I thought it was for sort of environmental purposes, not just to put less paper in, because people used to say, well, you put a piece of paper in telling us we need to go and find the piece of paper. To go rather not online, so why not just put the instructions on the piece of paper? But the reason they gave in this question actually is pretty good, and probably strikes another difference between AMG and Games Workshop. Games Workshop make all their stuff in the UK, and therefore they have much more greater control over when it's shipped and packed, all that kind of stuff, so they can make sure the instructions go in at the last minute. Whereas AMG said that basically they have to have made sure the instructions are ready before they go out from wherever they go out from in China or wherever it is. And quite often they wouldn't see the final models till after the date for which the instructions had to be back in the boxes or ready to go in the boxes.
Yeah.
So therefore there could be mistakes.
Because they might say,
the finished model was slightly different to what they thought the prototype would be, so the instructions are different. So putting them online means that they can get them up to date.
They can to the very last moment. They can literally wait until the first person who's bought their box opens it and then make that link available.
Which is fine. Except the instructions, I think, look like they've been designed by a 5-year-old.
Now, if they have, then, well done.
Because, I mean, and I'm coming from this from a point of view, I've been gaming for a really long time, and I'm still terrible at building models. My 3D spatial awareness is quite poor. Whenever you do those IQ tests, I would wipe out on those sections. So I struggle sometimes to see. So the one I was trying to do recently, I was trying to do the MacLeod from the Double the Pride set, the one with Count Dooku in it. And I was looking at it, and you've got a little hexagonal peg. There's 2 bits left to go. There's a little hexagonal peg, and I was like, well, which way round should that go? And I couldn't really tell from the picture. Yeah. And
the bit that it attached to, whilst it was like the hip, it wasn't obvious.
Well, they weren't standing. They were standing slightly edge on, so it wasn't like, oh, well, it's got to be square, so it's really obvious.
Yeah.
And actually, when it went in properly, it was obvious. But first time round, I got it in almost properly, but 180 degrees round the wrong way, and it sort of worked. So I thought, well, that's probably okay. And then the legs were the same, so they've got little pins, and they didn't really fit on properly. And then the angle of the diagram wasn't very good, so they kind of like showed you the legs coming in but like akimbo, like he'd be stretched out like that rather than. And then the next picture was a slightly different angle. It didn't really show you how the legs should stand. So when I was trying to do the legs, I was like, well, this one leg's much higher than the other, and they're supposed to be standing on a flat surface. Oh my God, what do I do? And eventually I did actually stick the legs on around the wrong way. It was only when I came back and thought, this isn't right. Luckily, they came apart.
Yep.
They hadn't all fused together, so I was able to rectify the problem.
If you'd used super glue, you would be proper out of luck at that point.
Yeah, well, even if I'd used more glue, I think I'd have melted them together. So I'd have been. Now you may be watching this thinking, well, that's your problem. I didn't have any problem with that, and that's fair enough. Some of it is my problem, but I feel like if I was new to this, it would probably have fried my brain. That's kind of beside the point, because if you're going to put these instructions online, you've actually got an opportunity there to make really good instructions, because you haven't got to print loads.
Yep.
You can annotate them, you can get customer feedback experience, you can add that to that, you can actually have multiple photographs.
You can have multiple photographs, you can have multiple views of the connection.
Exactly,
so in those ones where it's not clear, just stick 6 of them in there. It doesn't matter. You can use every axis.
Nobody's going to say, oh, I'm sorry, I had too many. It was too easy to see what I needed to do. So I don't think there's any excuse for having this kind of slightly crappy rendered diagram. I mean,
it might be poor to start with, but they could easily update it very quickly and do something much nicer.
Yeah, absolutely. They could get customer feedback. So they've got actually developed for themselves a really good potential to make really good, clear instructions and the best instructions that any company has made. So it isn't really, the question I framed it as why are they so bad is,
why aren't they better?
Why aren't they better? They could actually be the best doing it this way. And I think it's a really good way to do it. And I completely understand the reasons they have done it. I just wish they kind of went the whole hog and completely made it Robin-proof, if you like.
If you can make it Robin-proof, then you really have created a thing that is...
Because I am really terrible at it. And so if you could build instructions that I can understand and be happy with, then you built
you've mastered
a good product.
I think it's interesting, like you say, it highlights the difference between Games Workshop and them, that they send their stuff off to get moulded and get produced, whereas GW do it all in-house, so they can literally get it exactly how they want. And GW have mastered the art of multi-part kits where you nearly always can't get it wrong. You know, you probably could.
Challenge accepted.
But, you know, when you're building Marines and stuff like that, it's just the way the leg and part of the body is all in one piece. It only fits one way, and it fits so well that when you put it down on the base, you know that everything's going to be flat.
I have screwed up some Necrons and things in my time.
Yeah,
the MacLeod are quite similar to Necrons.
Maybe that's because they're a bit more skeletal and a bit thinner on the bits, but you get any of their slightly bigger models, and they can really make them so well put together. Like you say, it's not that their instructions, why are they bad, it's just why aren't their instructions
better. They just
better
have that opportunity to make them spot on, because they can update it at any time. But they've only got to update it in one place. That's really what it is. So they could make them the absolute best, and they're not. I mean, they try. They have shaped pegs, but sometimes the hole will take the peg either way, and so you could end up with the wrong peg in the wrong hole, and that's just nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
But as well, like GW, they don't use a lot of peg and hole situations now. They usually use the shape of the surfaces to fit together, which gives a lot less room for error.
Whereas for all you converters out there, it's very annoying. But for us dunderheads, it's great.
It means you haven't got to worry about pegs at all. You can just put the two pieces together and stick some glue on it, and it will just stick. But it's a little bit frustrating when you can see how something could be so much better, and it's not.
It's only because they answered I kind of just taken it as read. Oh, well, these are the instructions, and these are what I've got to do with. Only because they answered that question, I actually thought, well, you've got an opportunity there to do something. Maybe they say it's not worth their effort, but I don't think it would only take an intern about half an hour to make it better.
With the CAD package or whatever they've got to just put the images on there in different direction, or just even adding some type notes to just say, make sure you do X, Y, Z before you do that. And this is why companies don't interact with their fans, because like the minute they open that door, people just go, well, why don't you do this then? Like, well, just go away.
I'm asking nicely. I might have asked it in a slightly rude way, but yes, you've got an opportunity to actually make your product the best, like equal the best. Nobody could make it any better.
So let us know in the comments below, how are you finding their kits? Are you finding them better than GW's? Worse? About the same? Are you like me? Is your spatial awareness such that you can put stuff together without having to look at the instructions too much, or are you a bit more like Robin?
I have to say some of them are really good. And I did 2 kits at once. I did the Obi-Wan kit, and Obi-Wan was fine, and the clones were all right, and Dooku was fine. It's just the droids that I have a block on. I think it's partly fear, because the droids are quite hard. All of the droids that I've ever done, like the Legion droids and the AMG droids that I'd already done, they are tricky. And I just think it's fear.
Space skeletons. Robin's fear. He's
Yeah.
scared of space
I
skeletons.
must have watched Terminator at too young an age.
Yeah. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell as always.
And if you'd like to support us making more content, slacking off people who make games, then please do consider supporting us on Patreon. It makes all the bile worthwhile.
So we'll see you soon in a galaxy far, far away.